Welcome to the Know Before You Go Travel Show, where we share all the latest travel tips, tricks, and insights to make your next vacation the best one yet. So sit back, relax, grab a cocktail, and enjoy the show with Penyak Travel's George Penyak and our senior travel consultant, Janet Penyak.
What is up, everybody?
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back to another edition of the Know Before You Go Travel Show with Penyak Travel, and we've got a show for you today.
Yes, we're going to talk about one of our favorite things.
Oh, you guys can probably guess it. Who doesn't need a little wine right now?
Yes, we're still in COVID.
We're still in COVID. If you cut the news on or if you're on social media, this is a mess. 2020 is an absolute mess. We got to either start over or just fast forward to 2021.
Yeah, I think we should fast forward to 2021.
This whole year has been a blank show.
Yes, it's crazy.
March hit and it's just been a downward spiral. But we're going to bounce back.
Yes.
We're going to bounce back and we're going to give you guys a little kind of mental vacation. We hope that our podcast is a mental vacation for those that listen to us. And by the way, thank you so much to those that have been listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please mash subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. We would love that. And then also a positive review would be great too.
Yes.
Because that's what helps us get the show going, keep everything going here, keep it going and flowing.
There you go.
Speaking of flowing, we're going to get the wine flowing today.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. So we are going to talk about our trip to Napa, California. And we did this actually on this exact weekend 2 years ago.
Yeah, we saw some beautiful photos pop up. And I was like, have we done a show on this yet? And I don't think we
I had been
have.
telling him that we hadn't for a long time, and he didn't believe me.
I thought we had. I think we touched on it a very early episode. Touched on it. We didn't go into the details of it and all the ins and outs of Napa. But it's such a cool place if you haven't been. A lot of people have, but I think there's still a very large population that haven't. And really, it's only a wine lover's place.
Yes.
But I think if you're not necessarily a wine lover, you can still go and have an absolute blast because there's a lot to do there.
Yes, I would agree. It was beautiful. You could see, it was a clear day that we were there. We were only there for one full day.
One full day. We spent the night, though. Yes,
we did spend the night. But one winery that we were at, you could actually see in the far, far distance the skyline of, I don't know, maybe San Francisco or Oakland.
San Francisco skyline.
Yeah, you could see it on a very clear day.
And it was absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
And we were up on the hillside. That was our favorite winery. Are we going to go through the wineries one by one?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the four.
Yeah, but so we're going to save that one for last because that one was unbelievable. But, if you haven't been, there's so many rolling hills of grapes. It's unbelievable.
It was a lot prettier than I thought, and then there were also way more wineries than I thought. It literally was one after another, after another, after another.
Yeah, it was literally back to back to back to back to back to back. And when we went to Bordeaux last year, it kind of now that looking back at the two, if you have good soil, you put wine wherever you can. You put the grapes, plant them wherever you can if that soil's that good. And I think that's what these big wine areas do.
Yes.
And so if you're a wine drinker, it's very, very cool. There's also a lot of things to do if you're not a wine drinker, as we said. So if maybe your husband or wife or significant other is a wine drinker, you can tag along for the ride and still have a really good time.
Yes.
For instance, the place we stayed has a PGA golf course on it.
Yes, it does. So if you're going with a group of friends, a couple of couples, then I think that would be a great place. The ladies can, go enjoy some wine and the guys can play golf.
Absolutely enjoy a lot of wine. I think we all need
or
a lot of wine.
Or vice versa. So
everyone needs a lot of wine right now. Wine makes you happy.
Yes.
We all just need to settle down, drink some wine, and then push the reset button and kind of start this year all over again.
Yeah, so talking about...
By the way, 2021, the celebration for 2021 New Year's is going to be the biggest ever.
Now I'm going to give you the finger.
Because 2020 has been crazy. I know, I'm getting the finger. Okay. All right,
so talk about where we stayed. So we stayed at Silverado Resort, and they do have a PGA golf course there that they have tournaments on, I believe, right?
Yeah, so they do a PGA tournament event there every year. It's a Safeway Open. It's usually in the fall. There's 2 18-hole courses, so this would be, ladies, if your husband's a golfer, or husbands, if your wife's a golfer, you're both golfers. This is a great place to go because you can play it. It's not private. So 2 18-hole courses. The north course is a lot harder. It's where the PGA event is, and the south course is a little bit shorter. But, everything you would expect from a PGA caliber course you're going to get there. It's Johnny Miller designed course. Absolutely fabulous. The food is great. They have 3 restaurants on site. One's a cafe. They have a grill that's for date nights, and they're about to open up a pizza place. I was doing some research on it because I'd like to go back. And they're about to open up a pizza place where they cook your pizza in 90 seconds. It's wood-fired pizza.
kind of like the Blaze pizza like we have here.
Yeah, but this is going to be a lot nicer. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is on property there at the Silverado.
Oh, well, very neat.
And I remember, I'll never forget when we got back to the Silverado. We went out drinking wine all day. We were just sipping wine, tasting wine at all these fabulous wineries. And we get back, and we made the bad move of ordering the house wine at Silverado, which no matter what, if you're out drinking, sampling $100, $200 bottle of Napa Cabs all day, and then you go back to any resort and get the house wine,
it does not taste good.
It's not going to taste as good.
Yeah.
It killed it. I was like, wow,
it was almost undrinkable.
It was like crazy. But
I'm not going to name the winery or the wine that it was because it actually is a very good table wine.
We drink it all the time now.
Yeah,
we drink it all the time.
No, actually, we don't. It's better than the stuff that we drink normally.
It's better than the stuff we drink all the time.
But it was just funny after you have been drinking nice Napa Cabs all day, and then you go to like a house wine or table wine. It's like, whoa, there really is a big difference.
Yeah, Napa's known for their cabs, man, and it was. The wines we were drinking out, the last winery we went to, before we get into them, I got to tell the story. The last winery we went to, it was one of the only ones in Napa Valley that you can buy wine by the glass.
Yes.
You can only sample.
Which we'll get. Yeah, well, I think we should get into that a little more. We'll kind of tell the story.
Oh, man, okay.
Oh, okay, fine, go.
I didn't know you had a flow. No, keep going. Passing it back to you. I won't.
Well, I was just going to talk about, kind of where you could stay. So we stayed at the Silverado, and one of the reasons that we did that is because it is one of the more affordable places that you can stay. In Napa, a lot of the hotels there are pretty pricey.
Yeah, they're
just
pricey.
To be completely honest with you. So
when you start looking in downtown, we were not in downtown.
Yeah, we were not in downtown. We stayed out a little bit, but the Silverado, and I just priced this out for end of July of this year, and it was $225 per night plus tax. That's what it was starting at.
That's a really good rate for Silverado.
Right. And then if you look downtown, the Andaz is a beautiful hotel. I would highly recommend it, and I think this is actually a very good price compared to some of the others, but it was starting at $360 a night.
We've seen that as high as like $700-800 a night before.
Yeah, so then the Westin, another beautiful place right downtown, is $580 per night plus tax. And when we were looking, and we kind of planned this trip fairly last minute, it was within 2 weeks of travel, and the Westin was coming up at $800 a night when we were there, or $780 a night. And I was like, there is absolutely no way
smokes.
I am not paying that if it's not, like an all-inclusive resort. So
no, that's too much because the wine isn't cheap out there.
Right.
It's cheaper than what you're going to get. So when you get a Napa Cabs are some of the best in the world. If you were to get that elsewhere in the United States, it's going to actually be even a little bit more because you're getting it more direct if you go to Napa, but it's still not cheap.
Right.
It's very good wine. I mean, it's very high-end wine. So you got to think when you're going to Napa Valley and if you're gonna spend a lot on your hotel room, be prepared to still spend a lot on food and drink.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I remember the average wine tasting was like $30 to $50, and it was a flight. You got a sample of 3 or 4 wines,
right?
And you can't get it by the glass.
Yes,
you can unless you want to.
Well, you have to have a special permit. So
you got to have a special permit, which not many of them do.
Yes, not many of the wineries do have this permit. But just to start out, we'll skip over the first one since that's one of our favorite wineries that we went to. But
we'll save that one for last.
Yeah, the second winery that we went to was Sterling Vineyards, and that was really great. One of the things that stuck out to me was we were there, and they had fires the summer before, and you could see
that whole area did.
Yeah, the whole area did, but you could see like where the fires had burned, and it was so close to their vineyard, and they were so close to losing all their crop, and they got very lucky. But that was a great winery.
And that was more of the bigger commercial wineries we went to. That was probably the biggest one we went to, if I remember correctly, right?
Probably the second biggest.
Second biggest,
yeah. The next one that we went to was Black Stallion Winery, and that one was fairly big.
That was the bigger one, yeah. There was one that was very, I don't want to use the word commercialized, but I think Napa Valley in general compared to Sonoma is they say it's more the quote commercialized area.
And they say
Sonoma
it's more
Valley's
tourist,
more like,
right?
Yeah, more touristy, and then Sonoma's more of your bed and breakfast, locally owned places where you can get a glass of wine and things like that. But I didn't feel that way about Napa.
No, I absolutely really loved it, and I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, the one place we went to, you could tell it was a mass producer of wine, but it was still, it felt like I was at a nice winery. It wasn't like mass production cardboard boxes everywhere. Not like that at all.
Right. No, I agree. So the third one, was the Black Stallion, and that was great wine. I mean, it's hard to get a bad glass of wine out there. And so they told us, because that was the third one that we went to, and we're like, can we get a glass of wine? Because all we were able to do was just get a small tasting. And
we spent a couple $100, and we're like, we're just getting tastings. We really want a glass.
Yeah, and so apparently in Napa, not that many wineries have glasses of wine for sale, or bottles that you can like buy and drink there, because there's a special permits that you have to have for each of these things.
Yeah, and I think I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I think you have to have food. So then you have to have a commercial kitchen, which increases the amount of regulations on the winery. Then now you have cleanliness. I think most of them don't even mess with it.
Yes.
They would rather say, hey, just buy a bottle, or just enjoy the flights.
Right.
And we did. We bought a bunch of bottles when we were there too. But yeah, I kind of, I really wanted to just sit there and just have a glass of wine.
Yeah, and so they told us at this winery to go to Laird Family Vineyards, and I absolutely love that winery. It just felt so homey, and it felt like a winery in North Carolina, like where everyone came out and like talked to you, and you
kind of meet the family.
Yeah. And I really liked it. And one of the cool things I thought was you could get a glass of wine there for $6.
Or $37.
Or $37.
I spent $37 on my glass of wine.
That's stupid.
When I saw it for $37, it's one of those things you have to do. I just felt like I was like, okay, wait a second. You have a glass of wine for $37.
Well, we would never normally ever do that.
No,
That's
we don't.
Way too expensive.
Yeah, way too expensive. But when in Rome, and I was like, this better be the best glass of wine I've ever had. And you know what? It was very good. I mean, I can't put a price tag on it. I mean, I don't know if it's, I guess it depends on, how ballin' are you? I mean, if you want to spend $37 on a glass of wine, go ahead. But is it that good? Like, if you had enough money to spend it?
You're not ballin'.
No, we're not ballin', but it's like, but if we had the money to spend it, I would spend it. It was fine.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, well, we're not going to, it was a splurge. We're not going to come back out here for a while. We, did not stay at one of the super nice places in town. We stayed a little bit out to save some money. So.
Yeah, we didn't stay downtown. And honestly, like, I about said Safeway open. The Silverado, perfectly fine place to stay and save.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Spend the money on the wine, honestly.
I would agree.
Now, if you're a big foodie though, if you're a huge foodie, then I think you could stay downtown and get a lot of value out of it.
Yes,
because the downtown area is quaint, has a European flair to it. Obviously, with the wine, you're going to get great restaurants, great food. You can take cooking classes there. There's a lot to do in downtown that you're not going to get on the outskirts like where we stayed.
Yeah, there's gondola rides, and then where we stayed, the golf, and then all the restaurants, and you can also do olive oil tasting, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of good olive oil out there. I mean, you're just going to get like a very cool experience. So that's why I say it's not only just for wine lovers. I think if you're a foodie and you kind of like wine, go check it out.
Yeah.
Just go. It's one of those places I think you got to see. And then you're right next to San Francisco, and you can kind of tour that city. Yeah,
which that's what we did. So we flew into San Francisco. It's about an hour drive from there. And we also spent some time in San Francisco that weekend, and so you could do that. You could also fly into Oakland.
You can go to the NBA Finals like we did.
So we did go to an NBA Finals game.
And
George
LeBron
talked
James
me into it.
Lost. I was so disappointed. I was pulling for LeBron.
Yeah, it was Cleveland versus Golden State, game 1.
It was the game where LeBron scored 52 points, I believe it was.
Yeah, he went off. Yeah,
and J.R. Smith screwed it up at the end.
Yeah,
where he got the rebound with a few seconds left. Could have put the ball right back up for an easy 2-pointer to win the game. And he thought the game was over, and he just dribbled out into the center of the court, and LeBron's going berserk.
Yeah.
It was one of the most wild moves, and when it happened live, it happened so fast. I was like, what's he doing? And LeBron's freaking out. It was really crazy. But when we were there, so we hung out in San Francisco. That was really cool. But really enjoyed Napa much more in San Francisco, outside of the NBA Finals, of course.
Yes, yeah. No, I definitely enjoyed Napa. I think it's beautiful. So the first winery that we went to, which will save the best for last. And the wine was, great at all of them. And the wine was really great here. Actually, I think I might have even preferred the wine a little bit better at Laird Family Estates. But the views from Artesa.
Oh my gosh, you can't. This is okay. If you're going to Napa.
Yes, go.
This is a must. go to.
Yes, go to Artesa.
You have to. Google it.
It is a splurge, but really all the wineries out there are. But it's great. The views from it are amazing. That's where we could see the skyline in the distance of, I guess it was San Francisco, and all you saw that and just the rolling hills.
You could see, it was such a clear day when we were up there, you could see as far as the eyes could see.
Yeah.
And you're almost up on a peak.
Yes.
And they have these very fancy high-end fountains. So all you hear is like the water dripping out of the fountain. And we paid a little bit extra to have a better view. It's one of those places where they were like, hey,
this is crazy, actually.
Yeah, but the view's worth it. So pay,
it is worth
splurge
it
for the view.
But we both said when we were there, we're like, I've never had to pay like at a place based on where I wanted to sit. So basically when you get there, they say, well, if you want to sit in here, your tasting is like $35 a person.
And it was like inside.
Yeah,
inside.
Nice and then, if you want to be on the other side of the inside bar, then your tasting's like $45 a person. And then if you want to be outside on the beautiful terrace with the rolling hills views and the San Francisco skyline, it's like $55 a person.
I was like, okay, sold. We didn't even debate it. I mean, when we walked out there, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it. So
just splurge. Don't save the $20 while you're at Artesa. Just enjoy that view. Yes. I mean, it is just, it was real quiet.
Yeah, and I also remember the staff there was great. They wrote down all these other wineries that they recommended that we visit when we were there, which we were only there for a day, so we didn't have that much time. But
yeah, we didn't really plan. I thought that was cool that we just kind of found our way.
Yeah, we did. We did not plan.
We didn't have like set up.
One person told us to go to Artesa, and so we did that, and then we just kind of found our way from there.
It was a friend of ours told us to go there. Yes. They found it. They said, you got to go to this place, and that's where we started. We're like, all right, place number 1, go here, and we rented a car. And you won't, it's safe unless you have to do a lot of sampling to not be able to drive.
I was going to say the samples are very small.
The samples are very small, but
and it was over
hours. And
yeah,
like
5
too.
hours.
You have like charcuterie boards, things like that. But man, that first place, I'm telling you, that is a gem. Know before you go travel show, or know before you go travel tip. Go to Artesa.
Yes. And, one thing I want to say, too, you can obviously hire drivers, or there's different wine tours that you can take. There's also a wine train that I will tell you I don't know much about it, but I've heard mixed reviews on it, that it's not worth it. So just pointing.
Mixed reviews,
just to say that.
Yeah. And honestly, I was fine just cruising around, because what I liked about having the rental car and just cruising around is like we weren't on like a set schedule.
Right.
Like I liked that. Like I preferred that. Now some people prefer to like show up and know exactly what's going on, but Napa's one of those places where you can just kind of explore.
Yeah.
Just go explore, pull up Google, see what you like, and kind of bounce around and find your way around there. It's so much fun.
Yes,
I would agree. Fun. I cannot wait to go back.
Yes. So some of the best times to visit is August through October or March through May. And we were there right at the end of May. I think it was like May 31st or something like that was the day that we spent there. But those are the best times of year to go. But really, you can go year round.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's so nice. And the food was great. Again, I would recommend the Silverado and save your money and then splurge on the wine and the tastings and things like that. But if you're a big foodie and you want like more of a I guess cultural experience and shopping and restaurants and things like that, more options, you have to stay downtown.
Yeah,
you're just gonna have to pay it. You just have to pay a little bit more.
Yes, and shout out to one of the restaurants that we ate at down there, the Bounty Hunter Wine Bar and Barbecue.
Place is cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Very cool place. It was like an old church, I think. It had like an older building.
I don't think it was an old church.
Yeah, it was like an old church.
I mean, it's an old building. I don't think it was an old church.
Was it an old building?
I don't know.
It was right on the Napa River, though, and it was beautiful.
It reminded me of like a Southern saloon, but like...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
A little bit more classy.
Yeah, barbecue joint.
Right.
Barbecue joint. Really good,
and they had really good wine, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, everywhere you go, the wine, obviously the wine selection is great, but Napa Cabs, Napa wine, all over the menu. You just can't... I was in heaven. Cab's my favorite type of wine, so...
Yes.
Both of us.
And I would love to go back there one day, and I would definitely say, a lot of people right now, due to COVID, are not wanting to travel, outside of the U.S. or internationally at all. So
check out Napa.
Check out Napa. I believe they're supposed to be opening sooner rather than later. So.
Yeah, I think they're going to open up soon. California's starting to get there, and I think you're gonna have a lot of families and maybe not families. It's probably not kid friendly place to go.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of kid
if you have older kids, it's a great place to go. If you have older kids that are old enough to drink and they might enjoy the wine. But if you're going to miss your summer trip, if you've missed your summer trip or canceled your summer trip, there's all these great little gems here in America. Might be a little spoiler alert for our next podcast show.
Yep.
That you can go to and still get this international flair. Little spoiler alert for our next podcast.
Yeah,
show.
a little hint.
Little hint what's coming up next.
Yes.
So, but man, we had so much fun. So much fun there. Last thing to do in downtown, if you do stay in downtown, the Oxbow Public Market's very famous. It's a market where you can get fresh fruit. There's restaurants there. You can get grab and go food, and it's a whole bunch of vendors, the local vendors that are there. Really cool spot. Another thing to must do if you are in the downtown area.
Yes.
And shopping and things like that. And it has like that small, like there's not any tall buildings.
Yeah, no, it's you feel like you're in small town America almost.
It does. But the architecture can be like a European flair a little bit. It's just a very unique place.
Yes. Now,
unique place.
What about moving on? Question of the day.
Oh, question of the day.
This was actually submitted to us from Sydney. Thank you for reaching out. And
Sydney, yeah. Shout out Sydney reaching out to us. We have a question of the day.
Yes. So wanting some ideas for travel
read the
December.
Question.
I have it memorized in my head.
Oh, okay. Because she wrote into us, so I wanted to read it.
Yes, yeah. So wanting some ideas for travel for December, and they did Disney World last year, and it's her and her sibling, both college students, and their father. So just wanting some ideas. I'm assuming somewhat local, so in the U.S. It kind of depends on what you're looking for, but just a few things that pop into my head for December travel would be Yellowstone. You could do winter in Yellowstone.
Yeah, it's going to be colder, so it depends. Do you guys like cold weather destinations, or do you want to get away in December for the warm weather destinations? So, yeah, I think that's a phenomenal one if you're okay getting into the cold weather, but it's definitely a lot of sightseeing. I think it'll be a very active tour, which would be good.
Yes. Yep. Lots of activities and things to do. You could also check out Southern California if you want something completely different. I think that would be also a great destination because you could have kind of a relaxing vacation and then also explore, some of the city.
Yeah, it really depends. I would say it depends on how long you want to go.
Yes.
Like, how long are you going here in December? And then do you want warm or cold? I think that December you're going to get a hodgepodge of everything. Obviously, a lot of America is going to be cold. So if you're trying to get away from that, that'll limit a little bit of your options.
Yes.
So what I would say, if it were me, I prefer the beach. So I would definitely go check out some hot spots in Florida. I think we mentioned two of them on our last show, but St. Augustine is a fabulous city for multiple reasons. You got sightseeing, you've got history, you've got the beach, you've got great food, you've got things to do. There's just so much to do there, and it's a place that not a lot of people have been, I don't think. So I'd recommend that. You can fly into Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. Or Siesta Key. See, I like to kick my feet up. Siesta Key feels kind of like the Caribbean a little bit in the United States. Kind of like Key West, but not quite as far.
Right.
And it's easier to get to than Key
West. Key West is a little more like party feel.
Yeah, it depends on if you're a college kid and you're 21, then maybe Key West would be the place to go. But if you're not like, if you're not, it's a party city. Key West is a uppity party city, not uppity, but it's just a party. It's a small island, but I think Siesta Key is a little more of a family flow. I think that's a place to take dad, hang out, like that would be fun.
Yes, or if you just want to try a different theme park in Florida, you could also check out Universal Studios.
Yeah.
So,
but either way, Sydney, hit us up, give us a little more information on what you want. We'll be glad to help you plan something out for your family. But that's really cool. That's a great question too. I think a lot of families are asking that right now. Like, hey, our original plans got ruined to go international. Where do we want to go?
Yep.
So our next podcast, so tune in, it's going to be our top destinations in the United States. Sydney, you should definitely tune in because we'll have our top destinations in the United States that have that European feel.
Yes.
And we've got some little cities that are small as like 6,000 people population, but they were, 50% of them might be from Europe. So there's some really cool little gems out there. So we have a hot list coming for our next podcast. So spoiler alert.
Well, I have another question of the day.
Oh, go. Come at me. Come at me, girl.
So,
what do you got for me? Because we didn't talk about this.
No, we did not talk about this. But it's been in the news recently about Disney World starting their phased reopening.
Big
and
news,
they are going to start that in July. And I've had some clients that I've reached out to who have had their rescheduled vacations to Disney pushed to July already. And so it came out, some of the different things that they were going to do, and they're limiting, character interactions, and you have to make reservations for the park. So they're eliminating like the fast pass system
like the
and the
social
dining
distancing
reservations.
squad.
Yes. And then the biggest thing is you have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, would you go to Disney World if you had to wear a mask in July?
A mask in July. Now, obviously, you have to eat and stuff and drink, so you have to
you can
take
do
it
that,
off.
but like in the theme park, walking around, in Orlando's heat.
Here's my take on it, because I thought about this. There are masks out there that are pretty breathable. I don't know that I would go and wear the traditional surgical mask, like the one that's designed for surgeries, but now they're coming out with these very breathable masks that are much more comfortable. I would probably I would gauge my comfort level in one of these like higher end masks, and probably if it was comfortable, I would go. The reason I say that is because the theme park's gonna be dead. You're gonna get on all the rides. Gonna be short lines. I think.
Well, we
not
don't.
Dead.
Yeah,
not dead,
but it won't be as busy as normal summer
They're limiting
season.
capacity.
Yes,
they're limiting capacity,
and I think that people won't want to go because of.
Well, you never know. I mean, honestly, if I have a mask that is breathable and fine, I would probably go because I would want to take advantage of the short lines. But I also see the other side of the coin of, the mask's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be hot.
I was going to say, just here wearing it yesterday in the South Carolina heat, I was about to die.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine having to walk around.
We're wearing like the surgical mask. We're not.
Yeah, but even if you have a cloth mask.
But you've seen these fancy ones that are like real breathable. Like they got the little hole in the side, like the little filter.
I was just curious because I already had one client say that they would not, that they'll just postpone their Disney plans. Actually, two. And I don't blame them. So
yeah, but I could see though people taking advantage of it. I think it's still a good opportunity to go, and then you can absolutely take advantage of the situation, because I think the capacity difference at a resort like that will be noticeable, because they're withholding people coming. So you're gonna have. I envision it as you're going to have a lot of short lines for everything.
Yeah, but if you have small kids, they might be disappointed in not having the character.
That's true.
Interactions.
That's true. I mean, listen, if you're going to plan it, and if you're looking to plan something in the next 2 years, I would probably wait till next year and see if some of these restrictions ease.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you want to take advantage of, I could definitely see that too.
Yeah.
I think we're underestimating the amount of people that love to go and would just say, "I'll just take advantage."
I think I think there will be that too. But just curious on your take on that.
Yeah, I'm kind of split. I'm kind of torn on it. I really am.
Mine would be a no.
See, then you can just walk around the world at Epcot and just have your mask off with a drink in your hand, right? I mean, how do you I don't know.
This is a drinking episode on the podcast.
We've been in quarantine too long.
Yeah, get us out.
So, yeah, that's a good question.
All right.
I'm trying to think of one to fire back at you. I got nothing.
Well, that's two, so I think we're done.
I got nothing. Yeah, we did double dip this one.
Yeah.
But Sydney, thank you so much for messaging us on Facebook. By the way, if anybody else has a question for us, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want to. Ask us whatever you want. We're an open book. As long as it's not vulgar, we will answer it on the air. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. We love you guys so much. Again, if you enjoyed the episode, please mash the subscribe button. We would love to get our numbers up on those subscriptions, which has been growing like crazy. We've hit the top 100 in Apple multiple times. So thank you guys so much. You guys are rock stars. We love you.
Yes, thank you.
And we will see you next time.
See you next time.